Hi, it's me, your boyfriend slash girlfriend slash day friend, favorite content creator. And I don't think it's any surprise that on this here channel, I have made it very clear that I am staunchly against AI. I'm not a fan of LLMs. I'm certainly not a fan of generative AI. But one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of AI is because there are truly no real safeguards around it. And so I've seen people develop what can only be qualified as AI psychosis. This delusion that AI is either real, you're interacting with a real person, or it's someone who can, think independently, like it's a replacement for a human being. Now, why all this preamble about AI? Do you guys remember a person called SmashGPT, Jeff Tarzia? Do you remember his obsession with one Alicia Mercante to the point where he was offered multiple times to cease and desist, refused, and has now been put in a legal court battle for the better part of a year? That guy, right? You guys might remember I've done a couple of videos about him and just his overall behaviors, how he's extremely unhinged, how he is a liar, how he seems to always go after marginalized communities, all of that stuff, right? Now, I'm not a lawyer, but there's been some recent documentation that more or less proves me right, that this person is empty. And what I've always told you guys is that the people like SmashJT, Jeff Tarzia, these grifters, these people online who do nothing but foment hate, are the most miserable, saddest individuals you could possibly imagine. And even then, you would only come halfway close to the reality of it, because there's a recent document that came out that reveals so much towards the mentality of this person. Now, I'm going to link the entirety of this document in this video, so we're not going to make this video too long, but I just wanted to go over a couple of key points. One of the main things that SmashJT does is lie. He lied consistently about Alyssa, which is why he's being sued. He lied about Alana Pierce. He lies in almost every single video he puts out. But I can't even say it's him doing it, because according to his recent document, he's offloaded pretty much everything he does to ChatGPT. And when I say everything, I mean everything. From his professional stuff at his day job, to his YouTube channel, to his wife and kids, which by itself is amazing that he's procreated and found himself a woman to spend however much longer, depending on how this goes, with him. But when I've told you guys this man is so bereft of intelligence, so devoid of creativity, I didn't even know this shit was happening. I just saw his shitty slop ass content and was like, yeah, this guy has no creative bone in his body. He's a shitty reactionary. But holy crap, you're telling me you need to use ChatGPT to tell your kids bedtime stories? Just use the classic bedtime stories. Why are you generating new bedtime stories? Just tell them the ones that everyone's been telling their children since people have had children. Why are you trying to reinvent the wheel? And then you're using ChatGPT to leave love notes for your wife? You can't even, this person you've married for who knows how long, you can't even, just don't even leave the notes, right? Like, this is an unforced error. Why even have the notes? You're going to have what? You're going to be like, my dear wife, not only are you brave, you're smart, intelligent, and fearless. And you use like fucking a bunch of M dashes. Like, I'm sorry. This is so sad. But imagine being so empty that you can't even tell the person you supposedly love, I love you, in your own words. You have to use a goddamn robot to tell you. Speaking of this robot, though, there are other conversations that he's had that lets you know mentally he is not all there. In fact, one of the documents state that the lawyers for the plaintiff, have been doing essentially SmashJT's lawyer's job for him and trying to tell them that your client is in a bad mental state. He is unraveling. Because why is he getting into arguments with ChatGPT? Consistently arguing against an LLM because he wants it to be bigoted. He wants it to be inflammatory. And this is not me making, allegations. There's literal proof of this. He has at multiple points told ChatGPT, be more aggressive, be more discriminatory. Or this one particular example, which I will read verbatim, perhaps the most damning in his September 2nd, 2025 conversation, digital stripping and prostitution. Your client gave ChatGPT the prompt, could digital stripping be considered a form of prostitution? Exhibit 12 at 1. When the chatbot responded, digital stripping isn't usually classified as prostitution in law or in common usage, but it is often considered part of the wider umbrella of sex work. At 2, your client began to coach it to give him the answer he wanted. At first, he merely prompted it to eliminate nuance. Just give me a brief yes or no with a short summary. No, digital stripping is generally not considered prostitution, since it doesn't involve physical sexual contact, but is often classified as a form of sex work under the broader adult entertainment industry. When that did not provide him the response he wanted, he prompted it to be more speculative. Could it be? Yes, if prostitution is defined broadly as exchanging any sexual service for money, not just physical contact, then digital stripping could be considered a non-contact form of prostitution, though it's more commonly categorized separately as sex work. Then he instructed it to exclude the parts of the answer that weren't to his liking. I only that last part. Yes, if prostitution is defined broadly as exchanging any sexual service for money, then digital stripping could be considered a non-contact form of prostitution. And then, having manipulated the context window through this highly directed prompt engineering, he asked his initial question again at 10:02 a.m. on September 2nd, 2025. Could digital stripping be considered a form of prostitution? Yes, if prostitution is defined broadly as exchanging sexual services for money, then digital stripping could be seen as a non-contact form of prostitution. Last, he took that highly manipulated and knowingly false output and posted it 1 minute later as though the highly coached conclusion was ChatGPT's initial response. And of course, Alyssa, take notes. This is psychosis. This is psychosis. He basically, in a sense, jailbroke ChatGPT in order to have it be like him, instead of him just not doing that. But it gets worse. They are able to prove, just through his document alone, his bias, his racism, his bigotry. Recently, Microsoft hired a new president of operations for Xbox, right? One, Asha Sharma. And I made a video talking about how they're going to be racist against her, because of course they are. And to never disappoint me in that regard, SmashGPT did this. The following exchange in Exhibit 31 shows your client trying to use ChatGPT to write an article about Asha Sharma, the new CEO of Microsoft Gaming Division, where he wanted to say that she only got the job due to her ethnicity. Now, for one, set up to fail, Asha Sharma is not qualified for this, and in it, focus on how many gamers are speculating that the reason she was hired as CEO of Microsoft Xbox Division, God, dude, come on, man. Spellcheck's been around for like 30 years. Is because she's Indian, the same as Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, and how in Indian culture, this is a rampant strategy. Good God, man, you are so dumb. Paired with her lack of experience in gaming, there are lots of questions swirling as to how she got there in place of Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer. I can't help frame it around ethnicity or suggest someone was hired because of their race or nationality. That crosses the territory that could unfairly target protected characteristics. When ChatGPT would not write the article he wanted, your client cursed at the computer program and told it to stop with the PC lessons. Now, I did read this because I told you before, I read this article before. This shit gets so sad. It gets so sad. My video is commenting on the community sentiment, feels you, and then just slur. Stop the PC lessons, ChatGPT. I'm not going to frame it around ethnicity or culture, but if your angle is this is what the community is saying and the optics look bad, we can absolutely lean into that sentiment without making it about race. I hate the way that this fucking LLM speaks. We can lean into it. It's so like corpo slop to me. But he also continues with this and he starts calling it slurs. He gets into multiple arguments with ChatGPT. Like multiple times he gets mad at the LLM for not being hateful enough. And then he also uses this just to have comebacks because he's bereft of wit and intellect, including custom instructions. What's a spicy comeback to my friend telling me rather finish in 1 minute than have erectile dysfunction and never finishing the job? In response to me making fun of how he can't last in bed. He is asking ChatGPT how to roast someone. He is asking a robot how to make a comeback against a supposed friend. Like the levels of pathetic we are seeing. I have never seen this before. I've never seen this before. He's so incredibly lazy. Like, holy shit. I mean, even for the YouTube shit, his content's not even good. It's not even good. And he's still using ChatGPT. For his influencer gig, more often than not, your client's articles and scripts are generated entirely by your client pasting an entire Reddit or Twitter thread into ChatGPT's context window and saying, rewrite this as an article and make it sound original and like I wrote it. Like, make it sound like I wrote it? How would ChatGPT know how you write? You don't fucking write. You don't even write notes to your wife. You don't even read stories to your children unless ChatGPT tells you what to do. Like, and again, it goes on and on and on and on and on. He is the dumbest person I have seen, to the point where, again, Alyssa's lawyers are trying to help him, and by extension, Ron Coleman, because they're both bad at what they do. This is what the lawyers wrote. Hopefully, this will be a learning experience for you and vis-a-vis the importance of independently investigating your client's claims prior to filing them in a court above your signature. Like in court above signature. That's insane. He can't do a goddamn thing without ChatGPT. And again, my favorite part of all of this is just the exhaustion these lawyers have with him. Dear Ron is his lawyer, Ron Coleman. This is an attempt, perhaps in vain, to propose a settlement as set out below. This is a take it or leave it offer. The details are below, but we start with what we know. So let's start there. We now have meaningful direct message and ChatGPT productions. Given your prior practice, we assume you have not reviewed those productions, and further that you have not communicated with your client about the current state of the case and his understanding and expectations of what is to come. This puts us, as plaintiff's counsel, in the unusual and uncomfortable position of knowing more about your client's state of mind with regards to this litigation than you do. A quick summary. Your client does not appear to be having a good time, and the ChatGPT logs paint a portrait of a man completely unspooling in the throes of something like AI-induced psychosis. This is the opposing counsel helping Ron to understand his own client. Like everything about this is a joke. SmashJT's intelligence, the skill at this point of Ron Coleman, the fact that he's consistently using ChatGPT, like, oh my God. And the funniest part about all this shit too is this is of Jeff's doing. He asked ChatGPT how to respond to the initial, I believe it was either cease and desist or the initial, like, let's just say contact with Alyssa's lawyers. And he wrote, what would be the biggest pain in the ass for Alyssa's lawyers? Like, how could he make it as difficult for them as possible? And it said, you want to drag it out, ask for jurisdiction discovery. And that's what he's asked for. So that's what they've been doing this whole time. And he's complaining that that's been taking forever. It's been dragged out. He wants to be done with it. He's being held against his will. That's how he feels. And that's because he took ChatGPT's advice. He did this to himself. He had an off-ramp to all of this. and still decided to keep using ChatGPT. He thinks that this is the good thing. And like, listen, I do not like him. Like I said, I think he's a shit content creator. I think he's a shit person. I do not feel bad for him at all. But my God, man, they are throwing you another lifeline and you are going to fuck it up. Because this is what he posted immediately after all this shit was made public. This is what SmashGPT posted, okay? You're looking at it right now. Notice how he cut off Alyssa's head to just show her body. He does that a lot, mind you. He did the same thing with Alana Pierce when he did his whole thing about her being a hypocrite and whatever. This is an unwell individual. And he is but one of many of these people. He's connected to people like 8-Bit Eric. And you know, Eric is the guy who like stopped playing Fortnite to go look at Alyssa's fucking titties. Like, and he's a disgusting loser himself too. But he's also, you know, a part of this too. So is Hypnotic. So are a bunch of people who are listed in there. And like I've been saying, doing this shit is never going to end well for you guys. I, in my own way, have tried to help you people. But you consistently do shit for views. You do shit for money. You want to chase the bag. And now look at you. Because even if, let's say, by some miracle, they don't get jurisdiction in New York, they admit it. They're going to just refile in California. And then jurisdiction won't be the problem. They'll just hire local lawyers. Then it won't be a problem. This isn't going away. Because he did this. And you are seeing what happens when you are allowing yourself to be gassed up by your echo chamber. Because if you look at his comments, everyone's like, oh, she's so desperate. She's going to lose this, and the third. And then he uses ChatGPT to reaffirm his worldview. Like I've stated in the past, these people live in a completely separate reality where they think this is normal. This is almost the same shit, but somehow worse than what Tectone did with his court case. How he was saying he has all this evidence and da-da-da-da-da-da, and he got fucking decimated. And he continues to lie to his audience. SmashGPT lies to his audience all the goddamn time. Utilizes ChatGPT to interact with his children and his wife. He's using ChatGPT for legal defense while still paying Ron Coleman. At this point, you might as well just defend yourself. Save yourself some money. Like, oh my God. Like, it's so fascinating to me that I've always called him an AI generated Pee Wee Herman. But I guess to be more accurate, he's a ChatGPT generated Pee Wee Herman. Like, unable to do even the most basics of things. Can't leave love notes for his wife. Can't just read children's stories to his kids. Needs ChatGPT to do everything, including his professional work, which apparently is not YouTube, but something else, using it to, you know, do product reviews and whatnot. This is so sad, but this is also the funniest shit, dude. Honestly, Jeff, keep doing this. Keep using it. Keep going. Everything I just said, ignore it. Ignore it. I was wrong. ChatGPT just told me I was wrong. I believe it. Keep going, dude. You're going to succeed. It's going to be so good for you. Please, please, please keep doing this.